Hello, my name is Kendi Venkataraman, and in this animation you will learn about society and social class in ancient Rome. First, I will describe social classes in ancient Rome. Slaves were the lowest class of all. They didn't have citizenship because they were not free. They were the people who were from the countries Rome conquered. They worked for families and listened to whatever people told them. Plebeians were the more lower-class people like poor people. The plebeians or plebes were the general body of free Roman citizens who were not patricians, as determined by the census, or in other words, commoners. They were usually farmers who used patricians' land to make farms to gather money. Other plebeians could be traders, people in the military, tribunes, aediles, or other high officials. Patricians were the more upper class and high officials group of people. They were very rich. Patricians had most power over the Senate. They made really important rules and laws. Sometimes plebeians worked for them. They controlled most of Rome. They were believed to have special connections with the gods and did religious rituals. Some served as judges. Some were military workers. Now I will discuss politics and power in ancient Rome. There were 3 popular assemblies in ancient Rome. The Curiate Assembly was made up of plebeians and patricians from 30 curiae, which were essentially groupings of early Roman clans or families. The assembly was associated with religious and legal matters. During the monarchy era of Rome, it was an important assembly, but as the centuriate and tribal assembly came in handy, the importance of the curiate assembly declined. The curiate assembly was replaced by 2 types of popular assemblies, the centuriate assembly and the tribal assembly. The centuriate assembly was initially organized based on centuries or military units. The tribal assembly was organized based on tribes, which were geographical divisions. The centuriate assembly elected magistrates. It was responsible for declaring war, enacting legislation, electing magistrates including consuls, praetors, and censors, and considering appeals of capital crimes. It was a major assembly during the Republic era of Rome and really helped the military. The tribal assembly also enacted legislation and elected magistrates, particularly those without military authority. Tribal assembly elected lower-class magistrates, made laws, and tried non-capital cases. It was a civilian assembly really important to laws and legal purposes. The centuriate assembly was structured in a way that favored the wealthier citizens. In some cases, their votes could outweigh those of the poorer citizens. The tribal assembly also had a system where each tribe had a single vote, regardless of the number of citizens within that tribe. The Senate, composed of former magistrates, were some of the richest men in Rome. They held significant influence in Roman politics. While the assemblies had the power to legislate and elect magistrates, the Senate often advised on matters of state and could even veto the actions of the assemblies, but they did not have the power to make laws. They advised magistrates and were in charge of military justices and diplomatic missions to make treaties. The Senate was made up of experienced politicians, typically from the upper class, while the assemblies were composed of citizen groups including plebeians. In ancient Rome, consuls were the chief magistrates of the republic, holding the highest elected office. They ruled military, made laws, and conducted rites. They are a pair of patricians or plebeians who get elected by the popular assembly annually, each with the power to veto the other's decisions. Consuls held extensive power in both peacetime and wartime, including administrative, legislative, judicial, and military authority. Consuls were accompanied by bodyguards and wore a purple bordered toga symbolizing their high status.